Meeting to order. Our clock is a couple minutes slow again. This meeting is held in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act 10:4-6 at C. Annual notice having been forwarded to the New Jersey Herald and the New Jersey Sunday Herald and posted on the bulletin board maintained in the municipal building for public announcements. Would you please rise and join us in a salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The oath of office was already administered to Mr. Tappan. Mr. Duncan is not in attendance tonight and will not be here for the next couple of weeks. As soon as he returns, he will have the oath administered as well. Before I ask the secretary to call the roll, I have an announcement. If anyone is here in reference to the 303 Durban Avenue application, that will be renoticed and they will come February 4th. They messed up again. They sent out the proper notice but had the wrong date on it. They told people that the meeting was either the 21st or the 7th, so they have to renotice and will be here hopefully on February 4th. So if anyone is here for the 303 Durban Avenue application, if you want to leave, that would be all right with us. Okay, would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Here.
Mr. Duncan? Mr. Gaffney? Mrs. Crock? Mr. Lido? Mr. Rayhill?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Riley?
Here.
Mr. Tappan?
Yeah, here.
Councilman Schindler?
Here.
Mayor Francis?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here. The minutes of the meeting of January 7th were distributed electronically. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley? Mr. Tappan?
Abstain.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Before we go to the open hearing on the redevelopment study area, I will ask the gentleman by the camera to introduce himself and tell us what he's here for.
Yeah, thanks. So Jim Fitzpatrick, Hopatcong Lake Regional News Agency. Been covering the council meetings for a period of time, and we're going to start covering the land use board meetings as well. Just includes recording the entire thing from gavel to gavel. No edits in the film. We write up minutes, but it's unbiased, and we're just here for positive Hopatcong.
Okay, is there any objection from the council? Okay.
It's going to have to comb my hair one.
I will just mention that although they will make this available to the public and they will also type up minutes, the official minutes are kept by our secretary. And the official minutes are not official until they've been approved by this body at the next meeting. Okay? Okay. Tonight we will begin with an open hearing. We had We have a study. We already have an area in need of redevelopment, and since the school board has closed the Hudson Maxim School and has put it up for sale, before that can happen, it has to be included in our area of redevelopment. So Mr. Reschke, who is our engineer, who is also a certified New Jersey planner and is the planner for the Borough of Hopatcong, has done a study, and he will now give a short report on his study, which, by the way, is totally available on the internet.
This is done in accordance with the statutory requirements to include a property within the area in need of redevelopment. As indicated, we have a large area of the borough that has been so determined. This would incorporate just the old Hudson Maxim School property within that area, subject to the same criteria that now exists. There's no changes. There's no eminent domain proposed, and I can't conceive of a circumstance where it would be with a school property that is no longer in use. So the criteria Mr. Rushby sets forth in his report, same as the criteria we reviewed initially in determining that area to be in need of redevelopment, which will include obsolescence as well as the fact that it's in the town center, certainly obsolescence is coming to play.
And I'll mention that it is just the property that the school is on and the property behind it. It does not include the parking area across the street from the school. Mr. Reschke.
Yeah, I just got a quick map. I'll share with the board first, and just basically share with the public. But basically, we're talking about, we have our area in need of redevelopment, and this is the property of the school. That's what we're talking about. We're just talking about this piece of property, adding it to the redevelopment zone. So that's what we're limited to. So,
Camera's over there.
yeah, he's going to have to move. That's part of his job. So just for the public again, this is we have our area in Redevelopment, which is already established, and so the property that we're talking about is the school. So it is only that it's block 30612, lot 1. So that's the property that we're doing, and what the board is taking action today is just a determination of need. It's a two-step process. First, you determine a project is in need of redevelopment, and then the second part is to actually develop a redevelopment plan and how that property is going to be redeveloped. Just talk a little bit about the second part, the redevelopment plan. Right now, the borough did receive a grant from the Highlands regarding doing a market study of the school. And so that is being done. And so we have not received that yet. It's in the works. And basically what that plan is doing is saying what is the best use for that property and looking at it as of the school, or should it be demolished, or what they can use that for. So once that study comes in, that's going to be available that the board can review and see, look at the criteria that's established, what the best use is, and perhaps extend the existing development plans that we have on the current redevelopment zone, or perhaps just create different for that particular lot. So that would be the next step. But the step that the board's taking tonight is really a determination of need. And the statutes are clear regarding what the criteria is in order to determine if it falls within appropriate to determine in need of redevelopment. And we did identify 4 criteria that are in the statute. One being that it's located in the town center. You can just say that it's in the town center, therefore you can determine it in need. The other one, as Mr. Hackney said, regarding obsolete, it's an obsolete building. It's dated. That's the other one criteria. Discontinuum of use. It's no longer a school. The school no longer needs it. They are selling the property, so it's no longer going to be used for public use. So therefore, a discontinuous of use of that particular structure does have a criteria. And the last one was outdated building design. It is an old building. Even the school had issues looking at that building, how to retrofit it with various different utilities and such. So it is an outdated building. So based on those 4 criteria, my recommendation is for the board to make that determination that this property is in need of redevelopment.
Thank you, Mr. Reschke. Anybody from the board want to make comments before I open it to the public?
And one quick question. The parking lot, isn't that in the other redevelopment program?
It's already.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it's not that it's not in a redevelopment program, it's just in a different program.
It's
Well, yes
already
and no.
in.
Already in
It's
there.
already,
It's already in there.
Yeah.
It's already in.
It's
they're not
already,
tied together.
it's already been designated as parking for the area when it is not being used for parking for the school. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to open it to the public, and I'm going to put a 5-minute limit on comments from the public. So, would anybody from the public like to comment on the study or on the on what we are here tonight to do? Anybody at all from the public? Ms. Modes?
Oh, I'm missing.
I'm sure you are. Please raise your right
Okay.
hand.
Well,
Swear the
I'm doing it.
testimony- You swear the testimony about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Give me my name.
I got it. Never mind.
Okay. We usually ask them to tell us everything.
No,
Was there a deed restriction on this property?
Deed restriction? Not as far as I know.
Not now, I'm saying, was there in the beginning? I heard it was only supposed to be school. There was a deed restriction
That I
by
do
Hudson
not
Maxim?
know.
No, we're not aware of any.
We're not aware of any.
Okay. When was the authorization for the study for Hudson Maxim School passed?
The resolution of the governing
There was
body.
a resolution from the governing body, had that at the last meeting. I don't happen to have it with me. Do you have that, resolution with you?
Yeah, it was,
But it was-
April 3rd, 2019.
Okay.
So what did they pass then in December? What was the difference between what the
Well,
council
I
passed
don't know what the.
December 3rd, which was to
December 3rd would
authorize the
That,
study?
that was just an authorization
The other
for
one.
the study to be undertaken. Mr. Reschke then undertook the study.
The study that was authorized in December, I believe that was the market study that was done at the Highlands.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then the report was submitted. Why wasn't the report submitted before that then if it was authorized in April?
Well, which report are you talking about? There
The
are
study.
two reports. There's
The
a
study.
market study, which we have nothing to do with, and there is a study of the redevelopment area, adding a property to the redevelopment area. What we're discussing here is adding the Hudson Maxim property to the redevelopment area.
Which is my understanding that it was authorized in April?
They authorized the study.
That's the study in April. So why wasn't the study put online before now?
Well, the study, it takes a while to conduct the study, and when the study was undertaken, it then came to the board. The board looked at it, and has since been put online.
But it was finished apparently October 1st, 2019.
That sounds about right.
it was a preliminary, it was a draft.
Yeah, there was a draft.
There's a draft.
Okay, so we're just getting the study now?
No, this is, the study has been online for a while. Now we
The
are
draft
having
was
the.
online?
Pardon?
The draft was online?
I don't know that the draft was online, no. No, the draft wouldn't have been online.
What was online October 1st that he did? You're saying it was the draft?
It was not online.
No, I'm saying if October 1st was the draft, then when was the study put online? The official study?
After it came to this board. This board saw the draft study.
Okay, in October.
No, it wasn't in October that we saw it. November? December. We saw it in December. We discussed it. We acted upon it. We put it online. And we took this, we took the steps to have this meeting to open it to the public for public comment.
But in October, Mr. Reschke stated that he drafted a report to include Hudson Maxim School in a redevelopment area with all of the criteria that he just presented now.
Mm-hmm.
And it took 2 months to get to you?
That sounds about right. We only had one meeting in November. And there was one meeting, there were not many board members present. And we put off considering that study until the following month.
December 7th.
I believe so.
I was not at that meeting.
Right.
December
So you discussed it at the meeting before you had it in front of you?
No, we had it then.
You had it in October?
We didn't have an opportunity in November because we only had one meeting and we didn't have a full complement of members that we thought would be helpful to have to review it. So that's why we preferred to December.
Okay, so, but you did have it in October?
No. Mr. Reschke had it in October. We did not have it in October. We did not have it until November. We generally get all the information for a meeting the Wednesday before the meeting. So if we presented it if it came up in November, on November 7th, let's say, we probably got it on November 2nd or 3rd.
I just find that you had a discussion on October 1st, and you didn't even
We
have it in
didn't
front
have a
of you.
discussion on October
Well, it's in the
1st.
minutes of the meeting that he discussed it at the meeting. And he completed the preliminary draft report.
And it was coming.
So,
It didn't say that we had it. It said that he was going to be presenting it to us.
okay.
Would anybody else from the public like to comment or ask questions or say anything at all about this? Yes, ma'am. You want to come forward, please, be sworn in?
Please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your name, please?
Jeff Johnson. I am a council member. I went in and spoke with Bill yesterday, and he gave a really good explanation of what the redevelopment area actually means. And it cleared up a lot of stuff for me in looking at a redevelopment area and what a redevelopment, like what it means. Because as a layperson, and I think I explained this, Danielle was there too, that there was a letter that went out like 6 years ago, right, in 2014, I think it was dated, that I had seen, that I think scared a lot of people about what eminent domain is. I mean, not eminent domain, what redevelopment is, because it said something about eminent domain. But then it was also pointed out to me that the town has hasn't used eminent domain, and it has no plans to use eminent domain. Is that
That's all.
Right,
That's what
okay.
we've been saying.
So
And
I think,
and that would be more of the council.
Of course, right.
Because this board would not make that.
correct. But I don't think, and I don't know, but I don't think that that's, you correct me if I'm wrong. but like,
You're opening up old wounds.
I know, but because when I looked at it,
But, you know,
because when I looked at the letter and I was like, wow, this is point. And then Bill was like, no, this is the point of it. The point of the redevelopment area is to keep, maybe you can explain it better.
But
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
We're here to discuss adding
Yes.
a property to the
Yes.
rate. We already hashed out the whole idea of what a redevelopment
Correct.
area is and whether or not there should be one. That was done years ago. It was we had a very well turned out meeting at which lots of people provided testimony.
And we did make clear in this advertisement or announcement that eminent domain is not
Right.
part of it.
Well, this, right.
Tonight,
Right.
But
Continue to expand.
Well,
We specifically said no.
in the notice, we indicated eminent domain was not, it's as to this parcel.
After this part.
As to this parcel.
Who wants it?
Yeah. I didn't mean to rehash. I meant because I don't know how technically scary this would be. That's what I'm. Thank you.
Yeah, all we're trying to do tonight is to move toward the council adding the Hudson Maxim School property to the area in need of redevelopment. After which time, then there would be a plan for the redevelopment. Ms. Modes.
If you're adding it to the existing redevelopment area, just for to be
Yeah.
specific, can you take eminent domain off of just one property if you add it to a redevelopment area that
We
includes
haven't
eminent
taken
domain?
eminent domain off of anything. We've just, there's no eminent domain being discussed because the school board, which owns the property, wants the property to be developed. And it can't be developed unless it's added to the area in need of redevelopment.
Perhaps the council members and the mayor could answer, because at the municipal meeting, because there's a confusion now, at the municipal meeting, the way it was worded to send it to you guys was that it wasn't going to have eminent domain.
It's one property. It's one property.
It's
There's no other property involved.
Property.
And the school wants it, so hopefully the school will
explain
be
to me-
able to sell it for more than what it would.
It's a moot point.
That's
It's
not,
a moot
that's not
point,
the
Madam.
question. The question is,
One
can
property.
you take eminent domain off of the property if you add it to a redevelopment area that already includes eminent domain?
We figured
That's a question that does not apply in this case, because we're talking about one property, not two. One.
I didn't say two. It's
I said one.
property that you're adding to a
So tell me how
redevelopment
a domain would be a factor one way or another when the property owner really wants it in redevelopment.
You're adding a property that you're saying, according to the way it was written on the municipal authorization to send it to this board, was you were taking eminent domain off of it. That was the understanding.
Yeah.
So if you're putting it into an area of redevelopment that includes eminent domain, can you remove the eminent domain from that one property if it's in an area of redevelopment, included into an area of redevelopment that includes eminent domain?
Now, that's no longer the string question. It's one property.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
We're
going to let the attorney
It's
answer
a
that.
discrete property.
Yes.
It's obviously, it's across the street. It is a very discrete property, and we can do it with this particular property. And frankly, I think it's a totally academic question in terms of whether eminent domain would be considered civic property. I think the odds of anybody here hitting a very large lottery would be greater than eminent domain.
Well, again, this is just, what the board is acting tonight is just is determining that it is in need of redevelopment and it's going to be added to a redevelopment zone. Now, there is no redevelopment criteria being applied to that. That would be the next step, and we can address that at that point.
Thank you for that.
So our function, when public comment is finished, is to decide whether to recommend it back to the governing body to incorporate this. In theory, you could a portion, I can't see that applying here at all, the property and the area in need of redevelopment. That's where I will.
Would anybody else from the public like to make any comments at all? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. It would be appropriate at this point for somebody to make a motion to send this back to the governing body with a recommendation that the Hudson Maxim School property be added to the area of redevelopment.
I'll make that vote. I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Bongiorno?
Yes.
Mr. Gaffney?
Yeah.
Mrs. Croft? Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley? Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Councilman Schumann? Mayor Dancer?
Yes. Okay, we have taken care of that. It will be recommended to the governing body that this Hudson Maxim School property be added to the area of redevelopment.
Again, just for technicality, is that we're not adding it to the area redevelopment. What we're doing is declaring that this property is in need of redevelopment, period. We're not adding or anything. It's just we're making action that this property is in need of redevelopment. So, we will decide if it's going to be added, how we're going to zone it, and how those other things in the next phase.
Okay. New applications, there are none. As I said, the 303 Durban will be re-notified, will come in February. Continued application, Hudson Farm IAT Reinsurance, Block 50002, Lot 7, 270 Stanhope, Sparta Road.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I will recuse myself.
Yes, this is a D variance, Mayor and Councilman. So let's see who's coming up. Everybody's up.
Yeah.
Mark is coming up over here. And since this is a continued application, anyone who was sworn in previously is still under oath. And if there are going to be any additional witnesses, they will have to be sworn in.
Those under oath are not here tonight. I have two additional witnesses.
Okay.
So, Steve, you want to do that first?
Yes, why not?
All right, Steve and John, why don't you come up and I'll put you guys under oath.
This way the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Stephen, Alana, ULL, ANISH.
You all A-N-I-S-H? All right, and clear.
John Hanson, J-N-S-E-N.
Is the applicant in here?
Engineer and planner or some testifying with license plan.
And you're currently licensed with the plan and you testify before this board.
Correct.
And you, sir?
Manager of Hudson Farm and President CEO.
We previously considered the application at the December 3rd meeting.
No.
Now it's the first one.
That was the other.
That was the other one. Okay, we initiated this in December 3rd. And the meeting was very, presentation in regard to operations of Hudson Farms, so we have a better understanding of just overall what they do there. And Mr. Askin is kind enough to provide correspondence,
Which I don't think has been shared with the entire board.
I just got it done last night, but I brought copies for everyone. If I could have it marked as an exhibit, I'd be happy to pass them out.
I've got a copy. Thank you.
I think that's the first exhibit, correct? I think they submitted anything in December.
No, everything else was submitted with the application.
Right.
So the site plan and the architectural plans are all part of the application itself.
This will be A1, which is correspondence dated January 2020, addressed to the
Like consisting of 4 pages.
Like me to start?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Again, my name is William Askin, the firm of Askin and Hooker, on behalf of the applicant. As Mr. Haggerty introduced the continued hearing tonight, we did begin on December 3rd last year, where we completed the evidence, the testimony with respect to the site plan, which was submitted at that time by Mr. Ferrero, and a representative from Hudson Farms was here that night as well and added some testimony. Following our presentation, there were some questions about the uses of Hudson Farm and its operations as a private club versus any offerings or openings to the public at large. There are, historically there have been, and there currently are today, very limited opportunities for the public to visit the farm. As you'll hear in some testimony from our witnesses tonight, the farm is very inclusive. It has very, very many amenities and options for its members. It operates, 99% as a private club for its membership. I'm sure you're familiar with many of the things that go on there in terms of dining and locker rooms and the facilities that are available there to the members, and that is strictly only for the membership. Most all the activities are exclusively for the members. Those include hunting and fishing and gardening and some other things that the witnesses may testify to. But there is an element of the club that has been slightly open to the public, and that element is indeed the pro shop. As we'll go through the memo tonight, the pro shop is one small aspect of the operations of the club. It is a rather insignificant in the overall operations of the private country club itself. The operation of the pro shop, being open to the public, is a very, very inconsequential addition in terms of traffic or people that go to the club. I've had the pleasure of being there very frequently over the past year since I've been involved with the club, mostly for meetings, or all for meetings, not using the club facilities or availabilities there, but literally, the footprint, the traffic, the people that visit there is very minor, very inconsequential. In fact, the testimony will show that the membership itself is today and always has been less than 115 members. But in your ordinance, it does outline that the country club or a country club is a permitted conditional use in this R3 zone, and there are no specific conditions that attach to that use. I think Mr. Haggerty would agree, but there are some general conditions that attach to a conditional use.
Yeah, I did send an email. There's
Right.
another ordinance that has.
Yeah, I'm going to
Well,
talk
we can
about
walk
that.
through that, but
Yeah.
I guess the threshold question is,
Yeah.
is this a country club? Now, everybody associates the country club with a golf course. But,
Right.
in the past, we've had tennis clubs. People are members of tennis clubs, maybe not so much anymore, but certainly it had its heyday, and there's still tennis clubs there's swim clubs where people join for a community pool, that kind of a thing. This is more expansive, certainly, than the usual case, I would think, in the sense that what we have here is we have residential facilities, we have people staying there. We have a gunsmithing operation, as indicated in Exhibit A1. It may be a small component of the facility, but it's there. We have retail sales. Of course, you can say, well, there's retail sales at a tennis club or a golf course, and they can buy a racket at a tennis club or a golf course. And that's a country club, and public maybe have access to those retail sales facilities. This couldn't find a definition in the municipal land use law of a country club. I could not find a definition in the ordinance. I did not expect this. I went online and talked about sporting facility with recreational elements or something. It was a very generic definition and social opportunities, I think, was included. And in our ordinance, under Ordinance 24259, it talks of community centers, country clubs, and outdoor recreation facilities. And it has some standards, and certainly I would think that this facility would meet those specific standards. And it does indicate no building or an unenclosed recreational facility shall be located within 95 feet of any property line, or closer than permitted for principal structure in the zone where located. You can have retail sales for members and the guests only. Then there would be retail sales, in this case, for members of the public to some degree. So that particular condition doesn't sound like it would be met. Unenclosed recreational facilities shall effectively be screened from adjoining residential uses for certain opportunities. No public address system shall be permitted except where such a system will not be audible on any property line. Certainly be able to control with that. Other factors such as lighting, drainage, parking, surfacing, signs shall be subject to site plan review. And it says outdoor recreation facilities would include golf courses, ice skating rinks, swimming pools, tennis courts, and other similar facilities. So the threshold question is this essentially a country club? If it is, then we would analyze it from a conditional use perspective, determine to qualify, and then we would look at the specific criteria and the general criteria as to conditional uses. But I do think that criteria B as to retail sales for members and their guests only doesn't particularly apply to sales open to the public, although you've indicated in your letter that it won't be advertised as in a signage, and it's a very select group that would be taken.
So do we ask the board to make a determination whether it is or is not a country club? Maybe we start.
I think that's the open question at this point.
It's funny. It's like a golf course, except instead of hitting a ball, you shoot a gun. And you go from station to station to station, like you go from hole to hole to hole. I mean, I don't know how many stations you have, 8 or 19. And I played that, did the course a couple times. It was 19, 9. And it's just like a golf course, except you go over and you take a gun and you play pigeons instead of hitting the golf ball and putting it in a hole. So, I mean, it's so similar to a golf, to me, it's so similar. And you drive around in a golf cart, for God's sake, from hole to hole. So, I mean, to me, it's, I don't know.
That would be our position, that it operates as a country club. I think that's, it's operated with this board's approval for over 20 years. Either as a conditional use as a country club or as a pre-existing non-conforming use. So.
You're obviously not a member of
No, I'm not.
And were you a guest of a member?
Well, they've had fundraisers a couple of times. They've had a couple of, the Lake Hopatcong Foundation had several fundraisers, and we supported the fundraiser. We were invited, and we ran the, I've done it twice. And it's exciting. Really, it's a lot of fun.
The question became, what is a guest? Nobody was able to tell us at the last time you testified. I phrased the question this way. Suppose John Doe is brought in as a guest one time. John Doe lives in England, and he's brought in as a guest. And then he leaves. Can John Doe then come back and buy rifles or make use of the facilities without coming back with the member who brought him the first time?
Okay, so I think there are two answers to that, two different ways. Use of the facilities would be no, correct, Steve? Correct. But if you wanted to purchase a long-arm gun, the answer would be yes, correct.
That was a question that we did not have answered last time. Now that question has been answered. Thank you.
And then I think the other question was, who are the people that go there to buy weapons, a gun, that are not members? And we say it is under very, very limited circumstances. We're trying to be completely transparent. There are people that have purchased weapons there, firearms there, sorry, bad lingo, lawyer, firearms there that are not members. So, Steve, who are the members of the public who occasionally buy a firearm or take a lesson at their...
Currently, right now, it's old clients of ours that have been from generations of clients of their dads, grandfathers that have purchased firearms from us back in New York City when we operated with Abercrombie and Fitch when we were owned by them. People are coming in and purchasing a firearm. They're not walking in off the street just to shop to go look at a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 gun. They're calling up ahead of time to ask even if we have it available anymore because the firearm might have been shipped over to England or anything like that to a customer. We ran a report the other day, and as of last year, we were open 358 days of the year to the public, non-members, and all 2% out of 358 days, 40 firearms were sold.
There's no advertising for the sale of guns, or how does someone sell it?
How? They're on our website.
It's on your website. So someone other than a member or a guest could view the website and then contact
They call up and make an arrangement and a meeting to come in to meet with a salesperson and all that.
How about the lessons and giving lessons to the public? How does that work, and who are members of the public that take lessons?
There are mainly a lot of our lessons. I ran a report the other day in 2019. We ran a little over 1,300 hours in firearm lessons. 272 were to the public. Public can be, and we consider the public to be local law enforcement that we help out with training. We do some training with Andover Police Department, Byron Police Department. We run a youth program. For shotgun, rifle, archery, now we included on that program. The public we consider are anybody who's there. I'm running a 5-day event right now with overnight accommodations happening as we speak with Fish and Game, New Jersey Audubon Society. That's what we consider public, that we're serving their food. They're in there for New Jersey Conservation leadership meetings for 5 days this week. That's what we consider the public to be as well.
Now, you mentioned that you sold 40 firearms to the public. What was your total firearm sales for the year? Do you know?
Total was probably just close to, if not over 1,000.
Thank you.
I mean, it is a small, minor portion of our business. There's no sign out front saying that there's even a firearm company there. There's no sign out there saying Griffin and Howe. There's
the only advertisement is on the web.
Correct.
And that number you gave was for 2019? Or?
It was 2019. Correct.
And Steve, with the application itself for the expansion of the pro shop, does that have anything to do with any ideas or plans of Hudson Farms to open up the club to a larger percentage of the public, or to grow the public availability to access or use the
The
club?
expansion of it is to be more legal, for compliance with ATF and state laws. Firearms right now, everything is legal the way it is. We just went through a month, 5-week check with ATF was in, going through all our books, our annual inspection, with 0 violations that we had. We're looking to just design the gun room a little bit better, to have gun cabinets so the firearms are locked into cabinets, shatterproof glass on them instead of right now wide open, that a customer did come in, or a member or a guest, you can just walk up and grab a firearm off the rack right now. It's a unique place. Again, the firearm shop, probably close to a quarter of a mile in on the interior part of the property. It's right next to our manager's house as well. And we're adding in, we're moving, which has been approved, the ammo storage that's in the big barn that was approved years ago. The ammo storage is getting moved from that barn into the basement of there. Firearm storage that we have in the big barn is getting moved into the interior of the property, more next to the manager's house.
Anybody else from the board have questions?
The other thing to realize is that it'll never get open more to the public. For the reason being is, why would these members pay this amount of money per year to be a member at that club, to see the public come in? And you have to remember, it's not so much a club. Every member that's there is a member of the Hudson Farms Foundation first. And then the foundation happens to have the club associated with it, which, if it gets open more and more to the public, more and more members will drop out, which means that foundation gets a lot smaller and a lot smaller, which is against Peter Kellogg's goals of the property of putting 90% plus of the property for conservation easement for 100 years. And funding that right now we average about $750,000 a year to local charities in this county, over $9 million in 7 years that we've given. So that number will dramatically reduce, and that's not his goals and his vision of what he's leaving behind as his legacy with helping out for the Sussex County and his towns around here.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the question of whether this would be deemed to constitute a country club or somebody that would community.
Kind of help us determine whether we need a D1 variance for the particular use, where it be open to the public in the limited way that's been described, or a D2 variance for the continued expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming use.
Well, it's a conditional use variance because you do allow the facility, to some degree, even though a small degree, retail sales to other than guests. So
Let me just make a comment. Rockaway River Country Club. I go there with a friend of mine and have dinner. If I want to go to the pro shop and buy something, I can go to the pro shop and buy something. I'm not playing golf. I'm just sitting there having dinner with a friend who's a member. I can go. If I've been there before at the Rockaway River Country Club and I wanted to get a nice shirt or a fleece from the Rockaway River Country Club, I could come up, park my car in valet parking lot, go into the Rockaway Country Club and buy a shirt.
I've done it. I've bought golf shoes there.
It's a great pro shop, and it's got some really nice stuff. And it's not restricted to just members to go into the pro shop. Golf
retail operations.
I mean,
You could do
just
that
in my
at
mind's
Straw
eye,
or
this
Trump
place
National
is Rockaway River Country Club, like a golf club with a place to eat. It's so similar.
well, if we determine it to be a conditional use and qualify as such, the variance would be classified as a D3 variance because there's non-compliance with all of the conditions set forth. D3 variance is evaluated a little differently because it's sort of a hybrid. It's permitted in the zone, but subject to the conditions. So the heaviest burden of showing justification for a non-conforming use sites especially suitable for the use doesn't have to be met. You certainly look at all the negative criteria and you look at the rest of the criteria in the conditional use. Those standards are met. And then there's general language, which is typical in the ordinance about how does it affect the balance of the community, traffic, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
A broad look at that.
Yeah, personally, I just needed clarification on non-members using. I have that clarification now.
So we did bring a professional planner with too, to supplement some testimony to justify, give the board some reassurance that there is evidence here that you could use to justify the granting of the variance we're seeking. And we'll, I guess, focus that then, as Mr. Haggerty suggested, on the negative criteria.
Yeah, if the board is inclined, and we really haven't faced this before with this property, in my recollection, where someone has taken a stance as well as a permitted conditional use in the zone. And there is a difference, whether it's an expansion of a non-conforming use or whether it is a conditional use deviation from the standard.
Well, we did act upon allowing them to have a smithing shop.
We did. And then we did. So,
Yeah, the testimony at that time, that was primarily the members. It wasn't represented as
Right.
It seems like it just expanded a little bit.
Mhm.
As it should become, what's that threshold? You know.
Right.
Yeah, and I suppose the analogy to a golf course is, well, you make golf clubs at the golf course, kind of, and here you're making guns. Is this, maybe this is more of an argument that lawyers like to have, or discussion rather than lawyers like to have, because, and no one else.
8-ounce gloves, you and Mr. Aston,
Yeah,
out of the way.
it's more of an academic discussion, but I think in any event, I believe that Mr. Aston's position is, doesn't matter, because we certainly would provide the use variance because of the unique nature of the site being almost 4,000 acres and the amenities that are up there.
That's fair with me. I'd like
Okay.
just some direction how you'd like the testimony to go in. Which,
Well, I like your idea of let's focus on the negative.
Well, let's talk about the use.
Yeah, we have, yes, and we're not going to vote upon anything until I open up to the public, that's for sure. So let's focus on some of the negative.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Hanson?
Good evening. So,
Mr. Hanson, you're familiar with the property, correct?
I am very familiar. I've been working with the Hudson Farms for probably 15 years. Been on the property many, many times, worked on the dams and the different projects throughout the years, and so I'm interested.
You're familiar with the proposed development and the expansion of the pro shop? And in your opinion, will that have any sort of a negative impact in and of itself on the uses at the club?
No, I just was listening as the board was talking, and the D3 variance is really the case that outlines that is really the Coventry Square case, and I think that's the legal framework for it. And as was also discussed, it's a much lesser proof required than for a D1 variance. The use is not specifically permitted in the zone. And here, basically, the standard in the test is whether or not focusing on that deviation can the site still support countryside use. And I think this is really clear and convincing in this case because it's a very limited amount of use. You've heard the testimony. This is a select people type of customer that's coming here. The type of product that they're going to buy is really a high-end, handcrafted type of product. So that would lead you to believe that the amount of traffic that's going to come in and out of this site, and the amount of intensity that's going to come in and out of this site by the deviation from the standard is very small. And I've been on the site, and as I said numerous times, there's certainly sufficient parking on site, there's sufficient walkways and access, lighting to this minor increase, the septic is not an issue. And so my testimony is the site can certainly support that minor deviation. And then as far as the negative criteria goes, you know that from hearing these many times in the past that the test is really three prongs. Is a substantial detriment to the zone plan, the zoning ordinance, and the public good. And the key there is substantial. I think trying for the minor deviations, it really rise to the level of substantial. And here I think it's very clear and convincing that the certainly no substantial detriment to the zone plan or the zoning ordinance, because this is really a small little deviation of clarification from the uses that are permitted on the site. And there's certainly no substantial detriment to the public good. The pro shop itself is set back 1,000 feet from the public road, it's buffered. It lends itself in the location that it's in to really be exclusive. People don't know by driving by that it's there unless they're really in that market. I think it's a very clear and convincing case. I think you certainly have met the positive and the negative criteria. I think the board can be very comfortable in granting this.
And you're comfortable with D2 there and the extension of the non-conforming use because we're really not seeking to bring additional members of the public or expand the facility in the sense of generating more traffic into the facility, but rather the project is designed to comply with federal regulations to make the site more consistent for any of those regulations.
Yeah, I think what you find here, and you heard through the testimony, is not that the building is getting bigger from an intensification of the use. It's really a reorganization of the space to make it better, make it safer, make it more compliant with safety standards and that.
And I believe it was good they were going to reduce the number of sleeping facilities in the building.
I'm not aware of that.
The building 10 plus years ago had 13 bedrooms in it, and we converted it from a 13-bedroom building into the pro shop now that's been approved 10 years ago to the board.
Okay.
So there's no residential.
No residential.
No res. Okay.
But from the outside, you won't see anything in the building.
You're not going to see anything from the public road, that's for sure. You know, the minor expansion to the building is consistent with the architecture on site and compatible.
Raising the chimney, chimney will be raised up on it a little bit.
And did you look at the letter from Mr. Rushke, the technical review portion of it? Height calculation, building height calculation could be provided. Plans in the application should be consistent regarding the proposed building height and variance requested.
Yes, and we'll be able to meet those requirements.
Okay, you know, all 7 of them? I mean, there are 7 items in this technical review.
Which, you're looking at the letter dated August 16th?
Yes. September 26th. September 26th. Here's a copy of it. Well, pages 2 and 3. That's where the technical review is.
I've reviewed items 1 through 7. I think we can comply with them. I would just make a minor clarification. Number 2 talks about the exemption. Number 4, I think it would be safe to say that we'll agree that we get either an appropriate exemption or an HPOA, whichever is most appropriate for what we're doing. And then number 6 says stormwater control. If I'm reading this right, it says that the borough engineer and or the reviewing board can waive some of the steps, some or all of the steps. You get that right, Tom? And we as otherwise comply with all applicable best management practice. So, to the satisfaction, I think we would leave it as the satisfaction of Mr. Rushke if we can meet those best management practices and he's satisfied, we'll do that, you know. The alternative, we need to.
John, is that,
That's consistent with it.
okay, good. Okay. All right. Anybody else on the board have anything at all? Anything at all for them? Okay, let me open this to the public. Would anybody from the public like to comment or ask questions? Anything at all about this application? Mrs. Modes, come forward and be sworn in, please.
Please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
And this will answer this.
Narrow according to Lori Comstock, which was posted on September 11, 2016, it says Hudson Farms is located in a packed environment in Andover Township on about 3,800 acres. The land is leased to two different entities. The Andover Township and Byram side, called Hudson Farm West, is leased to the Hudson Farm Club, an exclusive member club that also operates the Hudson Farm Foundation, which supports local charities. So, we have two separate entities here. So, we're talking about the pro shop.
Which is in Hopatcong Borough. We're not talking about the portion that's in Andover at all.
No, I'm saying it's leased to two different groups. What are the two different groups it's leased to? It says the Hudson Farm Club, Hudson Farms West is leased to the Hudson Farm Club and the Hudson Farm Foundation, which would imply that the other leased property is the pro shop.
I don't know that we can confirm the accuracy of what Lori Comstock wrote about Hudson Farm, but
Well, I'm asking you.
Well, let's ask Mr.
we'd like
Polano.
our general manager to give us the real facts. I'm sure.
IAT is the landlord and the owner of the property that leases the property to Hudson Farm Club. Hudson Farm Club is operated by Hudson Farm Foundation.
And the pro shop is leased on the other side. There's two. What are the two entities?
Griffin and Howe operates the pro shop, which is on the same property.
What is it leased to them?
Correct, which
Separate
is also
from-
owned by the same owner, Peter Kellogg.
Okay, from the Griffin and Howe Facebook page, it says, give the gift of marksmanship with our holiday shooting lessons. Purchase a gift certificate, and it says Borough can redeem the month of January for 2 hours of instruction instead of 1. Contact the showroom. There is a number of posts that are on the, it says they have 5 gunsmiths on site for repairs, upgrades for owners, and the truly discerning clients, which they seem to separate clients for the pro shop as opposed to their members. They can construct custom and unique rifles and shotguns built specifically to the owner's requirements and needs, highlights, and the smith's craftsmanship. The school offers a number of marksmanship instruction packages for shotguns, rifles, for individuals, groups, as well as for corporate and private events. There are a number of members and clients who use the shooting school for relaxation with family, colleagues, and friends with overnight accommodations to get away from the everyday hustle of the work. The farm has the ability to sleep up to 44 people on site in comfort with a full-time chef. The location it is in progress of constructing, which they've already finished, the 6,000 square foot greenhouse, which will contribute vegetables for the club's farm to dining services. It says we go beyond simple retail transactions. We are in the luxury lifestyle business. To book a shooting lesson or corporate event, whatever, this implies that you can go take shooting lessons, give certificates, whatever, and stay overnight. We're looking for some clarification here. I would also like to know if they have permission to shoot in the right of way.
They have permission to what?
To shoot in the right of way.
Right away of the road?
No, the right of way of PSE's power lines, or JCP&L's power lines.
We're monitored and checked and regulated regularly by several governmental entities, and we are operating strictly pursuant to the approvals from them. So,
Well, your YouTube video shows people shooting underneath the wires in the right of way of JCP&L.
And that person in the video is,
You have it posted.
no, who's the person in the video?
I don't know who the person is, but you have it posted as your entity.
It's me.
Okay.
I'm the one doing it. I'm an employee on the property doing it with with PSE&G, we give them the right of way.
JCP&L.
JCP&L, they had the right of way to come through our property to use it as well.
My understanding that you're not allowed to shoot under power lines. They have the right of way basically over everybody.
I don't know.
They know we're there, we have everything documented from them and all that.
Right, so you're advertising 44 beds and everything else. And so people can stay overnight. It looks like it's open to the public to stay overnight.
That's general information about the farm, the dining services, the lodging and all that, strictly with the members and all that.
Doesn't say members, it says clients. And the clients are going with the pro shop.
Well,
They're advertised with the
that
pro
goes back
shop.
to the question that I asked last time,
Absolutely.
the question I asked tonight, and the question that we did get answered. A client, who is a client? And I think that's been answered.
But it says the clients can go and stay overnight with their family and friends. So does the client have to be somewhat related to the club? Or is this actually open to the public because that's the way it appears on all of their postings on YouTube?
We just hired a new person in about 2 or 3 months ago to review the website and all that.
Clarify it so people are, misled. I think that they can go just be members if they want, or to be clients.
The people driving off the street can't call and say, "I'll stay for the night."
No, but they can take a shooting lesson and stay for the night. That's the way it appears on the YouTube videos, and that's where the clarification needs to come in, because it appears that if a group of us want to go and take shooting lessons, we can stay overnight.
And if they're staying overnight with a member there on the property.
And it's not the way it's presented
But
on
it-
the
it's-
YouTube video.
it's-
Telling you
how you
how
interpret
our
things,
rules
yeah.
and laws operate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public who would like to comment or ask questions about this application? Anybody at all? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
I think we're analyzing this as a D2 variance, the expansion of a non-conforming.
D2?
Meeting that criteria.
Okay.
So the board may want to deliberate a little bit. Are there any conditions that you want to impose based on the testimony that you provided, so that it's clear what you're specifically approving? If the board is inclined to approve it, you may want to deliberate a little bit on that if you feel it's necessary.
I think in our findings, we would indicate that the features that have been expressed in corresponding to testimony that this predominantly, when I say predominantly, very predominantly is designed for members and their guests. There's an incidental opportunity for public to come in. There's no signage or advertising on the road, and there is none proposed. That the scale of this, the scope of this is much different. This isn't going into Pennsylvania Walmart and buying guns. This is a whole different level.
Yeah, they're not selling $500 shotguns.
So I think, I think the reality of what we've heard in testimony versus what, again, social media is doing is, there's a gap.
Yes.
Shore that up, but it doesn't sound like to me anybody that wants to go down that road can show up and come shoot birds.
I think whatever.
You're not going to make a reservation.
You're not going to make so. Let's look at the reality of that versus what.
If we do vote in the affirmative to allow this, I think we should say something about it being consistent with the testimony that we heard tonight and with the letter that
The
Mr.
representations
Askin.
in the letter.
Yes.
I would agree to that as well, and our client would certainly consent to having those conditions for any potential resolution approval.
Ron?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Second.
Mr. Tappan made a motion.
Mr. Bonier? Yes. Mr. Gaffney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cross? Yes. Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Dillon?
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the information.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
I think it was well worth your coming back and clearing up some questions that we had. Yes. Right. I had that question, and we didn't have the answer last time. Right? Absolutely. Zoning officer, do you have a report for us? No report. Resolution, Orlando Gonzalez, hearing date December 17th, 2019. Motion is in order to approve the Gonzalez resolution permitting the variance for the construction of a carport at 120 Monroe Trail.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Mr. Don Giovanni?
Yeah.
Mr. Gaffney?
Yeah.
Mrs. Crock? Mr. Rahal?
Abstain.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley? Mr. Toppin?
Abstain?
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis? Mr. Governor?
Yes. We have no correspondence that I know of. Do we have any correspondence? No? Okay. Escrow refunds, there are none. Bills, should we pay the bills?
Pay the bill.
Second?
Mr. Don Giovanni? Mr. Gaffney?
Yeah.
Mrs. Crock?
Yeah.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley? Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis? Mr. Governor?
Yes. I will open the meeting to the public. Would anybody from the public like to address the board at this time? Any item at all? No? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Old business. I have an item of old business. Not too long ago, a couple of months ago, we decided that people could come in for a work session, and there would be no charge at all for the work session. But it turns out that I believe that if they're going to present us with any documents prior to the meeting, that those documents are going to have to go to our attorney and to our engineer for review, and perhaps we should have a $50 charge.
It's deliberative. Why would they do that?
Well, in my cleaning out of many files that, I've been working on, we're going back to the engineer and said it was
But after that, we decided not to, because it's really deliberative. It's no skin off anybody's nose. We spend no resources. People come here for a work session. They show us a drawing. It's not evidence. Correct, though?
It's not evidence. It's not, don't consider in the subsequent hearing. The only thing is, sometimes Danielle will send, and always, I guess, the stuff out ahead of time, and the question is, can I do this subdivision? It's nice if John or I or both of us have an opportunity to look at that a little bit and just comment.
Yeah, they get what they pay for, really.
Yeah, no, I like not to wing it if I don't have to. I really don't.
You're not going to get very far with $50.
Well, I know.
Yeah. 15 minutes. I think it's clear when people do a work session. It's very clear. Nothing's bound. Nothing's binding.
Spirit Airlines flight.
Yeah. But the spirit of that was to get people to come in and talk to the board so that they get some idea and go in the right direction rather than come here and have a back and forth. So that was the spirit of why we previously.
I'm mainly concerned that I don't want people to say, oh, well, I have this idea, maybe I should run it through the land use board, just for every little thing.
Why not?
So, well,
I don't think we'll get
that's
that.
why we're there.
I don't think we'll get that many. I think what we'll get is people with maybe I'm thinking of subdividing this, and the cost is so significant for some people if they've got no survey, and I can understand somebody coming. I get those calls in the office, geez, how much is it going to cost? And it's pretty daunting.
I think a lot of it's just for direction. I mean, what do we got to do? We have to go for a variance and everything?
We get to see the pulse. We get to see the pulse of someone that's thinking about doing something.
It was
But the
entertaining.
other
That two that came in, remember they were looking at the restaurant to buy. It was nice to see that somebody was looking at the
I think
economic
there
development.
has to be time limitations, you know, someone
Yes.
gets to the board for an hour and
Oh,
can
yeah,
state their
right.
whole case, you know. It's supposed to be a snapshot, this is what I'm thinking, what do you think? That's what it's supposed
So
to
they
be.
can better make a decision
Yeah.
on how they're spending their money. Just a discussion.
Bill,
It
you
should
agree?
be, should be 10 minutes, you know. It's,
Bill, you do agree, people shouldn't come in for a fee variance for work session.
oh, no.
You know, we're only talking about.
That's not
Really simple,
More
really
conceptual. It's made for people to come in and see what their concept of moving forward is. And depending on how we respond, it would be a yes or a
And
no.
we've had them in the past where all of a sudden we're telling them, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's time's up, we can't say anything more, you have to submit an application.
If somebody comes in with an undersized lot and says, gee, I'm thinking of subdividing it, well, it's because they didn't spend a lot of time and money on it.
That, or like that place on Lakeside,
Yeah, but don't forget, a lot of these people come in to bill first, right? You screen a lot of this stuff before you, I mean, Bill gives a screen before the guy comes in here, and if the guy's coming in here trying to throw darts, then Bill's gonna say, that ain't gonna work, don't even try it. So a lot of it gets pre-screened before you even get to the floor. Right, Bill?
I think a perfect example of that would have been the couple that came into the three-car garage. First they come into the
right.
cartoon.
Right.
So
Yeah, but that's an example of where Bill probably told him 3 times, you gotta have this. And they so that's another example. It's a good example, but it's something that he does come across a lot of that too.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, they got.
Yeah, they were here last time.
Were they?
Yeah.
Plans.
Okay. All right, then
Some
we'll
lot
just,
line adjustment, somebody might come in and say, you know, I'd like to do a lot line adjustment, I want to buy this from that person or now.
I always thought the $50 was like to keep the lights on, just for that.
Well, we got-
That's really what it
Yeah,
was.
the heat
Versus the professional.
I think we have a woodburn stove.
Exactly.
okay, if there are any other old business, any new business?
Mr. Haggerty, that letter that we sent to me for Altice
Yes,
came in a little bit late, so I'm gonna put it on as correspondence for.
We can do that. Sure. If they have no
It's not
very,
pending?
is there any pressure that they're?
No, I don't think so. So if you're okay with that.
Coming attraction.
All right, any other business?
Let's adjourn.
Okay, we're adjourned.
All right. Very good.